Hey everyone, it's Ken from OK Portugal. I'm just below Monsanto, which is one of the most Portuguese villages in the whole of Portugal. It's a beautiful historic place right up on the hill there. And I'm about to show you a beautiful little farm that's for sale in the Castelo Branco district of central Portugal. It's called Quinta São Tiago and it sits on around 2 hectares of private and secluded land. This property offers a great mix of open pasture with a wide variety of fruit trees, fertile soil and excellent water resources thanks to 5 wells, a natural stream and also a large pond. At the centre of the land is a renovated structure equipped with a wood-burning stove and solar electricity. There's also a carport, a covered work area and a caravan. Now included in the sale is a Massey Ferguson 135 tractor along with a whole range of attachments. Location-wise, this property is less than 5 minutes from the traditional Portuguese village of Medellin, which offers everyday amenities including a bakery, cafes, an ATM, a pharmacy and also a post office. For bigger towns, Castelo Branco can be reached in around 45 minutes. That offers a full range of shop services and transport connections. Fundão is around 50 minutes away, which also provides a wide selection of shops and services. For international travel, Porto and its international airport are just over 3 hours away, while Lisbon and its international airport can be reached in just under 3 hours. So here's a map of the property. It's a triangular shape, kind of a shark's tooth shape, and this is where the entrance is where we're currently standing. This property is reached by a dirt track and we can see that it's in really good condition. It is maintained by the council. You can actually get regular cars all the way down here to the property, and this is the front. So we have a very basic little rustic gate. I quite like that, just a little pole gate, and we can see the old granite stone walls from the original people that owned this, that actually built this by hand, and this follows the contours of the entire outside of the property. So let's go in and have a look at what this little farm has to offer. So we can see the track actually goes right through the property. It actually continues down here and around and down to where the buildings are and the parking areas. And we've got lots and lots of olive trees. I believe there's over 60 olive trees and they're actually in really good condition. You can see that they've been kept really nicely, they've been pruned nicely. Now there are people that are staying on the land, they've been doing all of the pruning and they've been doing a really good job of looking after this place. And just in front is a little sign for the Quinta São Tiago. Now believe it or not, São means saint, but Tiago actually is James, so it's Saint James. And maybe someone in the comments can explain why São Tiago is Saint James. I'm not sure exactly, but it is Saint James. So for the purpose of the tour, I'm gonna drift off the track. I want to go along the border of the land here so we can see the borders and the boundaries a bit better, and we can see this lovely stone wall, and we can also see a lot of these really nice olive trees. And I'm going to walk down in this direction. There's a really beautiful viewing point. As I mentioned earlier, there is a tractor. It's a Massey Ferguson 135 tractor, and the people caretaking the land at the moment, what they've been doing is they've been pruning all of these trees. As you can see, they have got a beautiful shape, but they've also been mulching all of the stuff into the ground. And so we can see all of the pruned branches and things have been smashed up, and they're creating a nice little surface layer here, which is really important for like the summer months, and when things get drier, you've got a nice layer on here where all the bugs and the mycelium and everything can grow. So if we walk through here, I think this is the best way to do it, because we could have gone down the track, but I want to take you down here first because we're kind of hugging the border of the land, which is, well, just in that direction. But I wanted just to show you these beautiful rocks. Look at these lovely huge granite stone rocks, and look at this big boulder up here. How cool is that? We can see how we reach this area here where we've got the wall in the background. We've got a lovely big flat area here. This is a nice parking spot, perhaps somewhere where you could put a yurt or something like that. And then just to the side here we have a beautiful little area here which is growing some mimosa. Now I like the way that they've kept this mimosa just to a small area, because mimosa itself can be quite invasive, but the way that they've done it here means that you've got a beautiful shaded section somewhere where you can park your caravans, your cars or something like that. But it's not completely taking over the place, and it is something that you can get lots and lots of firewood from. Let me just take you through here. This is the view in the background of Monsanto, which is absolutely amazing, this beautiful old historic village. And then we can see from this terrace, we can look down and we can see a little bit more of the property. Now let me just pop up the map on the screen. I'm going to point out exactly where we're standing right now. We're going to start from the left here. We can see how it steps down. We got loads of olive trees. We have some cork oak trees. We've got the beautiful views in the background. And then we have the building, which we can see. And then we've got this really gorgeous area over here, with huge granite stones, lots of moss, lots of lichen. And actually, let's just go down here first. This is a really beautiful area. I just love these granite stones. Really stunning. Now, one of the interesting things that I was told about this bit of land is that there's different areas in Portugal where you get the granite, lots of granite underneath the ground, and then you get something called schisto or schist, which is like a type of slaty sort of stone. Now, I've been told that apparently geologists find this area very interesting because where we currently are, this is where the granite stone stops and where the schist starts. From up here between the stones, we can see a little bit of the building in the background that we're going to get to just now. You can see there's a cute little caravan on the side here, a little workshop area. There's the little chimney of a nice wood burning stove. And then again, those beautiful views happening in the background. So for the sake of the video, we're going to go down and around. I think we're going to tackle the building first, and then we're going to go around the land. We go down this little path from this terrace where we first started the video up here with the Monsanto views. We can see there's a little path stepping down. This takes us onto another terrace full of olive trees, and the lower that we actually get into this valley here, there is a stream at the bottom, which I believe is along this line here. Is it this line? And we're going to get there in a moment, but there's a beautiful stream, lots and lots of water down here. I've been told that in the summertime it still remains quite green down here. And then from here we can see the back part of the rural building. And let me just turn here so you can see this beautiful granite slab. I mean, hopefully you're able to see because the sun is shining directly into the camera lens, but it really is a very pretty location. So let's start with the outside of this building, and then we'll work our way in. We can see the house has a tiled roof. Now, underneath that it does have insulation, so it is insulated inside. We can see we've got the chimney from the wood burning stove, and we'll get in there in a moment. We've got guttering on the roof that basically goes into this 1,000 litre storage tank. We do have a hose pipe, and this can be used to irrigate. And then at the back, this is mainly storage. So we've got a whole storage area. We have a little workshop area with a place where you can put your tools and things like that. And then we have a little caravan. Now, I don't have the keys to the caravan. Apparently, this is just storage. There is like a little work table on this side, and then there's a whole bunch of storage on this side. So it is storage. It's been put down on some gravel, and then this goes around. We will actually see that in a moment. We've got space for the tractor and things like that. But I think for now, what we'll do is we'll walk around to the front. From this side, we can see we've got a little wood store. We've got the front door. They have actually plastered over on this side here, and we've got a little sink and a vanity unit. It's all very rustic, all very basic, but very, very cute. Let's open up and go inside. From the ground up, we have concrete floors, an old traditional Portuguese door from a rural building. Look at this, look at that patina on it. And then if we look up to the top, we've got a nice A-frame with some big old rustic wooden beams going across. And then they've paneled the insulation using this pine tongue and groove boarding. And if we look on this side, we've got tons and tons of space. It's 5 meters by 6 meters. I think this is like the main focal point here. This is the wood burning stove, and I should have actually set this off, but what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut to some film of this burning so you can see just how nice it is. And this is going to warm up this area really well in the winter time. Now I'm standing in the other corner looking back at the front door and at the roof. We've got some really nice ceiling height. Again, a very basic rustic building, but you know, it's going to be dry, it's going to be cozy, and it's going to be a really nice space that you can use. In this corner we do have a little solar system. I don't know too much about the solar system, but it has an inverter on it. It has what we believe is a 200 amp hour battery. There are panels outside. It's got a little control panel here to show you what the battery levels and things like that are. That's going to be running your lighting and stuff like that. I've also been told that it runs the fridge. So you do actually have a place to store stuff in the fridge, and apparently the solar system can run this. So it's a very cute building, you know, it's something that's going to keep the elements out, it's going to keep you cozy, and it is insulated, and it is something that can be worked on and improved, and I quite like it. We're going to continue the tour outside, but there is still more of the building and structures to show, but we'll get there in a moment. From this side we can see beautiful olive trees again, really, really nice ones on this property. We've got a little gazebo over here, a little outdoor picnicking area, which is really cute. We've got some big prickly pears over there, look at that. It's going to make some nice fruit. From this section we kind of step down, so this is a lower terrace here, and this is probably the lowest terrace on the land, and that is actually bordering this stream just over here. Now I'm going to take you to this corner over here. I'm going to pop up a map and show you exactly where we're going. Apart from having some really big beautiful olive trees, we have this concrete tank. Now at the moment there is a lot of sort of building materials and stuff here. They do have the materials here to build a shed out of this stuff over here, a metal shed. This over here is some materials to make a metal pump house or housing. And then if we look over here, we have one of the tractor implements. This is actually a big bucket that goes on the back of the tractor. You can actually use that to transport people, which is not technically legal, but you always see the farmers put their wives in the back here when they drive down the road. You can obviously store stuff in the back of this, but it also has this blade on the back here. And when you put this on your tractor, if you tilt it downwards so the blade is going like into the ground, you can actually use that to level gravel tracks and things like that. So it's quite a multifunctional thing. But actually the real reason I took you here was for this concrete tank. So this is a tank that they'd use for drip irrigation. Just over here is a well. They would pump water from this well into this tank, and then they would gravity feed. From the well it would go into this bottom field, and this bottom field is, well, as you can see, a really nice bit of pasture. You can grow all sorts of veggies and things like that. You could also grow animal feed, or you could keep little sheep or something like that down here. And this hedgerow in the background here, this is where the stream is. So it's always going to stay nice and damp down here in the soil. Moving further along, we're going to have a look at this well, and we can see it's quite a rustic one. Granite stones. These wells are usually around 6 to 8 meters deep, and we can see this is a very basic one. It's going to need some work. I love these old tools. Look at this. There's an old piece of a plow or something like that lying around, or a tiller. And let's have a look down here. We can see the water itself is covered with this like a duckweed or something. But that's actually good, because what happens is that stops the sun from shining on the water and making algae. So the water under here is going to be pretty good. Now if you do want to drink the water from these wells, obviously this well needs to be sterilized. It needs to be cleaned out, sterilized, and they need to put a cap on the top of it to stop anything from falling in. And then you probably want to get yourself like water purifying systems, like a 5-stage water purifier that you can pick up on Amazon for between sort of 250 and 350 euros. If you get a plumber to install that for you, you're going to have a UV light that kills bacteria, and you're going to have 4 different stages that are going to take out heavy metals and toxins and things like that. And then you can be sure that this water is safe to drink. Next to the well, we've got this big golden plum tree. Look at that. Now, it is winter, so it's got no leaves on, but apparently it's full of leaves in the summertime. There's another big olive here. They hang a hammock in the spring, and apparently this is a beautiful place to chill. Look, they've got a little table down here. Really, really nice and shaded, and this beautiful pasture. We can see the building in the background there, and we can see we have a really nice big open space. And if I walk along this hedgerow over here, this takes us to where this stream is. Now this might not be the best place or the best part where we can see this stream, because there is quite a bit of weed here. They have just trimmed this so we can have a peek. So the border was kind of a bit of bramble, and they've cut through here, and now this is going to give us an idea. Look, when they said stream, I didn't realize it was going to be this wide. And actually, if we look back in that direction, we can see it's a lot cleaner and clearer, and there's quite a current coming through here. There's obviously lots and lots of this sort of duckweed and stuff in here, but I mean, look at that. It's a beautiful flowing stream. And I've been told that this runs sort of 7 to 9 months of the year. Obviously in the summertime and the hottest parts of the year, this stream is going to dry out. But yeah, it's going to be really nice to have this in the winter and in the springtime. Just behind me here we have a 1,000 litre water deposit, and that is used on these 2 above ground beds. They made them about 2 years ago, so the wood has kind of decomposed a bit. It's kind of pallet wood, but it just gives you an idea of how you can build little things to make your veggies. You've got water and stuff that you can use to irrigate them. Now in this direction they've built this little unit here. This is somewhere that they could park their camper van. It needs a little bit of TLC, but it's a really cool idea. They've built it out of like pallets and things like that. They've got a little sink area here where you can wash up. Underneath here is actually a washing machine. So I'm not going to open that up completely, but you've got water here. So you have a water point where you can run a washing machine. You can also shower on this side. And if I walk around this side, we can see there's a water filter. So we have a water filter on this side, a little tap over here for, connecting to your caravan or something like that. And this is actually fed by this over here. This is a pump. So let's just go in this direction. We've got a little house here that's housing an iron hail pump, and this pump has a balloon on it, so it's it'll keep water pressure going and everything. When you open up the tap, it'll automatically turn on and give you water, and that is being fed by this well over here. So another well, one of the other 5 wells on the property. And look at that, a nice big well, again probably 6 to 8 meters deep. This, I've been told, has water all year round. And then behind this well, look at this, we've got this beautiful pond. Look at that. It's actually, the sun is in the perfect area now to show you this pond. So the pond actually has this lovely gentle slope that leads back up to where the building is over here, and this lovely olive tree just below it. Look, we've got a metal bathtub. I mean, this could be an amazing little project. Imagine fixing this up and turning this into an outdoor sort of bathtub area. In the summer you could put cold water, and maybe in the winter you could have it raised so you could build a little fire underneath it, warm up the water, and then have an outdoor bath with all these views. So let's get on to some of the other structures around the building. From the outside we can see this west side of the building. So the door that we entered on this side is pointing north. We're on the west, east is in that direction, south is in this direction, and this is where they've built this carport area. This is covered by a green shade cloth, and they've got gravel, so it's all been nicely gravelled and everything. Little granite stones going around the edging, really quite cute. And then we have that beautiful area of granite stones just behind, nice views. And then this is the area where you can store your tractor, and you can store your all different things. You could even put your motorhome in here, or like anything that you want really. Now I've been told that this big trailer belongs to the people that are caretaking the land, and so does the stuff that's in the back here. So this isn't coming with the property, but what is coming with the property is this. Look at this. This is a Massey Ferguson 135. It's a 45 horsepower tractor, so it's got plenty of power. This is something that you can definitely run tillers and plows and things like that. I mean, this is a tractor that's going to be able to take care of this farm, no problem. And one of the best parts is, look what good condition this is. Look, I'm about to turn the key, look how easy it starts. How is that? So this has been recently serviced, and it's got, well, it's in great condition, as you can tell by the way that it just started so easily. And I mean, we can see, look, we've got brand new fuel filters on here. Apparently they've replaced a couple of parts, and it's running like an absolute dream. So a really great thing to have along with a piece of land like this. One of the most important bits of kit on this tractor is this Jopper. This is a type of flail mower. It's got hammers. Well, they're called hammers. They're just like metal hammers that spin around and basically flail the ground. And at the back it has a roller. And what they've been using this for is when they've been doing all of the olives, and they cut all of those branches are on the ground, so they can be big bits of wood or little twigs and things like that. They put them on the ground and they ride them over with this flail mower, and it turns it into nice mulch and like chippings and things like that, which is going to go into the ground, and it's going to keep the ground in really good condition. And let's just walk around the corner here. This is another view of this caravan on this side, and the little overhang with the tool bits and things like that. And on top of the caravan we have the solar panel that's supplying electricity to the building. So it's a very cute bit of land. I mean, there's a lot of potential here for someone that wants to be able to grow their own veggies, keep some animals. This has potential for animals like goats, sheep, horses. There's beautiful sections here that could be used for horses, and it would be a sin, it would be a crime not to keep some chickens here. So underneath this olive tree we have a beautiful old wooden chair that overlooks the pond. And they were saying that this is a pond that at the moment it hasn't been lined, so there's nothing in here to keep the water in here. And potentially what the new owners could do is they could get a lorry to deliver a whole bunch of clay, and you could clay line this so that it actually stores the water in here over the summertime. At the moment obviously the water is just going down with the water table, and in those hot summer months, once the water table goes down, then obviously the water is going to disappear. But as soon as we get to this time of year, we can see it looks beautiful and it's all full of water. This is a nice little piece that goes out with a little table, and then we have another little area just on the side here. Now, I was talking about permaculture principles earlier, and just in front they're doing something quite interesting. This is called a hugel culture berm, and essentially what it is a vegetable garden that's made up of composting bits of material. So at the very bottom here they'll put larger logs and things like that, and then over that they'll put various different layers of grass cuttings and compost and things, and then what they'll do is they'll plant directly into it. So we can see evidence here of stuff that was growing in sort of summer and autumn. We've got different broccolis and things like that, and we can see evidence of those. On this side, obviously we're in the middle of winter, so nothing's really growing at the moment, but what we do have is we can see, if we dig in here, we've got beautiful composted soil. I mean, it's a way of making compost without having to use composters and do a lot of work. You actually just put all your compost into a pile along this long berm over here. As we can see, look, we've got all the grass cuttings and things, and they just compost down and you plant directly into it. So yeah, hugel culture. I'm pretty sure a lot of people watching this channel are going to know exactly what hugel culture is, but if you don't, Google it. It's a cool way of gardening and growing veggies. Just in front of that is another well. This is well number 3. We can see this one does need quite a bit of TLC, but again, beautiful granite stones. And you could put this back into service, or you could just leave it exactly as it is. And from here, we can get down to this viewing point. I'll show you on a map exactly where that is. And this is where we're going to get to see the water a bit better. And this is where we're going to be able to see just how well it's running. Look at this. That is so awesome. And I just love these beautiful things. At first I thought that this was something that someone bought at an aquatic shop, for a fish tank, and maybe released it in here and it kind of started to grow. But apparently when this all dries out in the summer, all of this stuff completely dies and then it just comes back naturally. So yeah, I mean, this is part of the natural water that actually grows in the water naturally here. All right, so we're going to move on to another bit of the land here. Wow, look at this. It's an absolutely huge cork oak tree. I love cork oaks. The surrounding land here is just full of cork oaks and olive trees and things like that. In front, this is actually an area where they first started building a big carport shade. So they put these poles in the ground and they used to run shade cloth and shade netting along here. It's not in use anymore, but the poles still are in the ground. And they were saying that potentially you could build a pole barn where you put some more poles in the ground and then you clad it in these corrugated sheets, and then you have another sort of covered area. So that's potentially something that the new owners could look into. This over here is a digger that belongs to the person who's looking after the land. It's not for sale, well, unless someone wants to offer him a really good deal. But yeah, so it's not coming with the land, this. And something else I didn't speak about. So the house, which is just over here, or the building, which is just over here, is next to this little area of mimosa, and this is a little coppice of mimosa that could be used for firewood or something. And we can see it's all neat, it's all taken care of on this side. It's not spreading any further because that's something that mimosa can actually do. And if you keep it like that, you actually have a really good source of firewood. Mimosa is a wood that burns very hot and it burns very clean, so it doesn't leave sap and stuff like that all over your wood burner. It's actually a really nice wood to burn to get lots of heat. So looking further ahead, on the other side of this pole barn area, we have a really nice big field. Look at this. I mean, this would be perfect for horses. Imagine you could fence this off or paddock this off, and you've got this whole big beautiful section here that you could have horses running on. Really stunning. And the land around here as well, you've got lots of beautiful dirt tracks and things where you could run your horses. So I think for someone that's looking for an equestrian property or some place that you could keep horses, this would be perfect. And maybe even this pole barn area here could be turned into some kind of a stable. Right, so let's walk our way through this section. There's a couple of interesting things to show you here. Again, 2 hectares, it's a really nice space. It's a big area of land. I've been told that it takes 4 hours to cut all the grass with the tractor using that flail mower. So they run it over the grass in the springtime when the grass is growing at its fastest rate. They're cutting the grass every 2 weeks. You could do that in one go, or you could split it up into 1 hour a day, but it's really not that much work to do, even though you have this huge area of grass. So in the middle here we have this section of brambles, and what's actually going on in here is there's like a little water channel, a little aqueduct that comes from a well, and we're going to get there now so I can show you. But essentially there's a well on this side, And then there's this channel of, let's see if I can show you. It's all been destroyed, unfortunately, but they're old granite pieces. All the pieces are here, so they just have to be put back together. And if you can see, that piece of granite has like a channel in it. And so it's a long granite slab going along here with a groove in it. And you can pump water out of this well along that groove. And it's a way of basically irrigating. Now, the guy looking after the land has just cut this back so that we can have a look at exactly what's going on. But this is the well, and we can see this well has some mechanism on the top here, all made out of metal. This is a wheel. This wheel has buckets on a chain that goes deep into the well and picks up the water with buckets. It then drops the water into this funnel over here that went down into this section over here, down and up. There would have been another pipe here that then pours into this tank. And when this tank gets filled to a certain level, it would overflow and go down this channel. And then from that channel, they would have, you can see how long that channel is. They would have pieces where the water would come out and it would irrigate a section over here for growing veggies and growing different things. And what I forgot to mention as well is that this whole system would have been powered by either a donkey or a cow. I don't know if you can see this metal piece on the top here. There would be a walkway going around the outside, obviously with no brambles, and a donkey or a cow would walk around in a circle, and it would basically move these buckets, put the water through here, and irrigate this bit of land. So that's a really cool and fascinating little thing to have on your piece of land. I really like that, and I think whoever buys that should definitely look at cutting all of that back and trying to see if they can get that thing back and operational. I think all of the pieces are there. It just needs a bit of work, and it could be amazing. So we're following the outer edge of the land here. I'm going to pop up on a map exactly where we are. And we've got another nice little viewing point here of the water. This stream again makes up the border of the land on the side here. And I mean, this is a beautiful part where we can get straight down to the water. It just gets better and better at all these different parts. Look at that. And how's that sound? I love the sound of flowing water. So nice. Really, really nice. Now on the other side here, this doesn't belong to the property, but there's basically no neighbors. This piece of land is basically looked after by a shepherd that has some sheep, and apparently you see him every now and then, and that's about it. You don't see anyone else. You are on this private valley, and if you look around here, there's just nothing. There's no houses or anything like that. There is, I've been told, a building down on that side over there that's like an agricultural building, but it's very private here. So if you want real privacy and you want to really feel connected with nature, this is the property for that. And again, you're only 3 minutes away from the local village, and that local village has got restaurants, cafes, and ATM. It's got everything. And then you're like 20 minutes away from bigger supermarkets and things, and then 45 minutes away from a big city like Castelo Branco. So nice and connected. Here's another well, and essentially this is made up of 5 different plots of land. So each different plot of land had a well, and all the sections where we're finding wells are all the different little plots that make up the full 2 hectares. And this is a huge well. Look at this. Absolutely massive. You can see, look, a little froggy just jumped in the middle there. You know, don't let this green fool you. This is underneath here is very clean, clear water. You can see a very nice deep well. Again, it's going to need a bit of work if you want to use this for drinking water or anything like that. In fact, it's going to need a lot of work. But if you just want to use it for agricultural purposes, this is absolutely perfect. And then all around it, look at this. Beautiful big olive trees. This actually takes us into the corner up here, and then we've got this wall. So the whole property has this quite a low wall, but it's a granite wall that just traces all the edges. So I'll pop up a map on the screen to show you where we're standing. And in the background over here, this is that building that I was talking about. So this is the closest sort of building. It's not a house, no one lives there. It's just like an agricultural building. So from the well that we just looked at, this is the edge of the land over here. As I said, it's all nice and walled. I mean, this would make a really nice little paddock for some animals, and it borders with that stream. All very nice, usable land. We're going to walk back around, and then we're going to hug this border of the land, and we're going to go back up and around this side, which is from this field section where we've just come, and back onto this field section here. So again, I mean, I think this is just a perfect area to keep horses. It's nice and flat. You've got some beautiful grass down here. It's the lowest point of the land, so it's going to be a lot greener in the summertime, especially if you irrigate. And we've got some beautiful trees in the background. Look at these. I believe these are plum trees, and they're absolutely huge. Now do bear in mind that in the summer things are going to look a lot different. We're going to have leaves all over these trees, so we're going to have some beautiful shade. We also, in the height of summer, the grass is going to be a lot drier, because obviously Portugal does get pretty hot in the summertime. But that's why it's going to be so nice to have these beautiful shaded areas just over here. Now there's another little coppice area here of mimosa wood. And I like the way that they've kept them quite isolated and secluded, so they're not just growing completely wild and connected to all sorts of things that could become like a hazard for fire or anything. It is quite neat. We've just got a neat section over here that's all been tended to quite well. They are sort of clearing and getting rid of all of the dead bits of wood and things. But mimosa, as I said earlier, is really good firewood. It takes about 5 years before you can get a piece that can be grown and chopped into firewood. So it grows quite quickly, and you can get some really good firewood. Don't have to worry about buying it. And yeah, you've got this section over here, which is a bigger section. And then, as I said earlier, you've got a smaller section, which is just next to the house over there, which is also a nice little isolated clump. And then there's a couple more things that I want to show you just in front. We've got these two, well, not two, there's actually a couple of them, but enormous eucalyptus trees. Now these are completely isolated and on their own. They're not in any way connected to any other forest or anything like that. So they're very safe, and they're absolutely beautiful. They're going to have these leaves all year round, and I don't know if you can hear the sound on the microphone. There's this beautiful sound of the wind rustling and going through the leaves. So for the purpose of this tour, I've kind of stuck to the edge. I've kind of stuck to the boundary of the land, so I'm following like the walls all the way up. And when we first started the tour, we were on the actual track. Just over here is that track, so it reaches the house and it goes up and around and through the property. I'll just show you on like a map exactly what that road looks like and runs all the way to the entrance. And now we're walking through these eucalyptus trees. There's actually a little bit of a track that runs up here, so you can get your tractor down here or your car down here, and that's how you can kind of service this field area if you wanted a different access, which is quite cool. And if we walk up and through this section with these few eucalyptus trees, we've got some beautiful granite stones on the side here. I just love all of these stones and these rocks and things. And then looking ahead, this takes us back up to the top to kind of where the start of the land is, which is going to be in this corner over here. We can see on this section still we've got these beautiful old granite stone walls. A little bit of repairs needed on a couple of patches, but overall in really great condition. And let me just give you a view from up here. So this is where we started, back up in this corner. And I think before we get there, let's go in this direction. I want to show you how there's nice flat areas here. So lots of flat areas where you could park up, maybe put a deck or a yurt or something, park camper vans or something. Got a lot of olive trees growing on this entrance area where we first came in. And then we've got our own little kind of Monsanto, a little mountainous area here. And this is actually pretty cool. I'm going to walk over there quickly and just show you what it looks like up there, because I went up there earlier and I think that's a great spot. So if you go just past this track, this is the track running to the house, and you go up in here, got a nice little wooded section and beautiful granite stones. Look at these. I wonder, yeah, let's go up this side. And then a lovely little flat clearing here, and this is something that could actually be cleared out a lot more. And then if you look in the background, we've got the Monsanto views from up here, which is incredible. So I've really enjoyed making this video of Quinta São Tiago. I hope you guys have enjoyed the video, and if you're interested in buying this property, have a look in the video description below. I'm going to put the seller's contact details. They kindly commissioned me to make this video to share with you guys on our channel, and if you have any questions, if you want to make an offer or anything like that, you need to speak to them directly. So all their contact details, the price of the property and everything is all going to be in the video description below. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and we'll see you again for the next one very soon. All the best. Ciao.